What's the most satisfying prank you've ever done to your sibling? I, 37 male, was about, maybe, 10 years old that time. My sister is only a year older than me, and she loves to belittle, bully, and make fun of me at every opportunity. To this day, I still love my sister as a family. Anyway, my sister often volunteered to get mails from mailbox outside of the house. She does this because she want to be the first to tell my parents that our school sent letter probably about suspension from bus or school for something I tried to hide from my parents. So, one day outside on Saturday morning, I rode my bicycle and I saw a garter snake on ground. It was small, 1 foot, a pencil thin snake. I picked up the snake into one of cargo pockets in my pant and rode back to home for lunch. As I was nearing to home, I took snake out and placed into our empty mailbox. I ran into house and I looked through window for mail to arrive. My sister saw me and she became suspicious. She shouted to mom that she's getting mail and ran toward to our mailbox. I watched through window with huge smile. The snake jumped into her romper and it crawled out through one of her legs. Fast forward today, my sister won't open mailbox anymore. Her husband continues to assure my sister that there's no snake in Alaska. Around 10 years ago my family used to walk to restaurants near my house to eat dinner because they were nearby and walking is nice. My younger brother would always press the crosswalk button over and over non-stop until it said walk. So one day I got fed up and told him that every time you press it, the timer resets and it makes it take longer. Somehow he bought it, and for the next 4 years it worked fantastically well. By the time he figured it out he was old enough to have patience and not mash it a million times. Biggest success I've ever had with tricking him. Conversely, my mum told me, if you kick the traffic light it'll take less time to switch to green. I still do it. I wish it was true. When I was about 9 I convinced my younger brother, 6, that one of us was a robot, but I was unsure of who it was. He started acting pretty fucking weird for a few days, trying desperately to prove to himself that it wasn't him. Taking a shit in the backyard for example, and showing his friends. Not sure if this falls into the same category as a prank, but it's a favorite moment for sure. My mom had bought some chocolate cheesecakes world brownie things from the store, which I saw before my brother did. I opened the box and started to take one out the box. As I'm about to bite into it, he walks up and asks, have you tried those yet? How are they? I go ahead and take a bite and promptly spit the entire thing in the trash, saying how gross it was. He walks away happy he didn't take a bite, and I get the whole rest of the box to myself. About a year later my brother finally asked my mom why she keeps buying the brownies, since they're so gross, and she says, that doesn't make sense, you guys keep eating them so quickly. That was a delicious year. Not me, my son/sons. They were about 11 and 8 at the time. New term for school was starting, and they were all kitted out in new uniform, shoes and satchel type school bags. Normal morning with everyone getting ready. Little one suddenly storms downstairs screaming and in floods of tears. Took a little to settle him to figure what was wrong. Turns out his brother had extended the straps on his school bag when he wasn't looking, so when he put it over his shoulder it was touching the floor. He went to his brother to ask him to adjust it, whereupon the eldest spent 10 minutes convincing him the bag was as it should be and he had caught shrinking disease and was slowly going to shrink and probably disappear round about dinner time. Lads are 18 and 15 now, and we still laugh about it. I made my 21-year-old brother think he was adopted. For his 21st birthday, instead of a birthday card, I sent him a letter from an adoption agency I made up. The letter assumed he already knew he was adopted and said his biological parents were trying to get a hold of him. I made up something about how you gain legal rights to reach out to your biological parents at 21, and they do as well. The letter seemed pretty legit. I actually went through and edited it to sound a bit more fake at one point, so he wouldn't get too freaked out. I also added a goofy looking photoshopped picture I made of his real parents. Anyway, I sent it to his apartment, and he thought he was adopted for a good 20 minutes. He finally realized that it was the first piece of mail he had ever gotten at his apartment. School apartment. All his mail went to my parents' house, and that I was the only one with his address. I had called him 2 days earlier for his address. I said our aunt wanted to send him a birthday card. My buddies got me really good. My college room was messy, and I figured there was just some ramen somewhere that I couldn't find because everywhere it smelled like beef ramen. I could not figure out where the smell was coming from. I scrubbed everywhere. It kinda smelled like in the shower, but yet again I could smell it all over. Turns out my roommates disassembled my shower head and stuffed beef bouillon cubes inside. I was showering in ramen juice for weeks and had no idea that in fact the smell was me the entire time. My older brother used to torment me by putting my plush toy monkey in the bottom of the freezer. Cried a lot but he'd defrost by bedtime. Got him back by getting the biggest tub in the house, emptied his socks and underwear into it, took everything out the freezer, put the tub in the bottom, and filled it with water. Repacked everything like nothing was amiss. Mum took peas out for dinner and everything but never noticed until the next morning. He had to freeball it to school for 2 days because she refused to buy him new underwear. Told him stop fu **ing with his monkey and this shit won't happen. We were 5 and 7 at the time. He never messed with my monkey ever again. Still have it to this day. Not me, and it's more of a dare, but my older brother dared my other brother to do a backflip off the truck they were on while it was moving to impress some girls. The dumbest did it. Landed face first on the pavement. Needed help to shower and wipe his ass for over a month, which my father made my older brother do. Still got the girl's number. Not to a sibling, but to a friend a tiny bit older than me. Found about 15 to 20 different alarm clocks in his house. All could be plugged in and powered by his 41,904,109,014 different power strips he had in his room. He was a huge nerd. So I hooked up every clock, set up every single alarm, and hid them all over the place with each alarm going off in 1-minute increments. Not to a sibling, since I'm an only child, but here is one of my favorites. When I was young and sleeping at my grandparents' my nan let me watch Candyman. She was awesome. I was only like 10 and it gave me an idea. On the Monday I was back at school and convinced everyone in class that the Candyman was a very real myth and that saying Candyman in the mirror 3 times would summon him. I then left it at that. Later on at lunch I saw all of the girls go to the bathroom together, so I went back inside and pretended to drink from the water fountain that was between the 2 bathrooms. I heard them all giggling and saying Candyman in the mirror, so when they got to the 3rd one I kicked the door in and made some jank monster noise. They all started screaming, crying and one even fainted. Apparently they all had trouble sleeping for weeks, and since it was a shit school the CCTV wasn't working, so they had no idea who it was. Mine wasn't a prank as much as retaliation. My brother was a bit of a bully. One day during an argument over who knows what, he grabbed a kitchen knife and started chasing me with it. I ran out of the house and he pursued me. I gambled that he wouldn't have a house key on him like I often did, so I sprinted to another door, keyed in, locked it behind me, and then locked the door we ran out of. I left him outside until my mom got home. I have to give him credit. He was persistent for quite a while with pounding on various doors and windows and making threats before he gave up. Once my sister was sat with me watching Gold Rush on the Discovery Channel. One of the guys pulled a small nugget out of the pan and I just said, oh, he wants to be careful doing that, he'll get sick. To which my sister said, OMG what? I then went on to spin a very simple lie that gold ore is poisonous until it has been refined because it can be absorbed through the skin. A bit like mercury, if you touch too much then it sends you mad, and that's why they call it gold fever. She bought it hook, line and sinker to the point where she mentioned it in one of her science lessons in school and got very embarrassed. Oops. My dad and my uncle used to have an ongoing prank war when they were kids. They used to share a room. During the day, they stored the blankets and pillows in a closet and took them out before going to bed. One night my uncle came home late. My dad prepared his bed like he was sleeping in it and hid under a blanket in the closet when he heard my uncle come back. When my uncle opened the closet to take out the blanket, my dad threw the blanket over him and pulled my screaming uncle into the closet. As a revenge, one day my uncle waited until my dad was sleeping, got the coal shovel from the oven, put some fire starters on it, placed them right next to the bed of my dad and shouted fire. My dad woke up staring directly into the flames, just inches away from his face. Scared him pretty good. There's more, if people are interested. When I was about 7, my sister, 10, used to take any opportunity to pick on me. That Christmas, I spent most of my time outside building snowmen and making big piles of snow while expertly avoiding a massive pile of dog shit. I had to go pee, so decided to cover the dog shit with snow, then asked my sister to watch my snow and please don't stamp all over it. About 10 seconds later I hear her screaming from the front garden. She tried saying I made her jump in dog shit, ruining her new shoes. My mum had watched her jump in the snow while I was taking a piss, so I was all clear. My little brother went for a shower and I would always try to scare him whenever I got the chance because it pissed him off, and that's just what brothers do, haha. Well, this particular day must have been around 10 years, 2 years younger. The most genius plan came to mind. His bedroom entrance just on the inside of his door was basically a mini hallway where the walls were far enough for me to walk in the wall with my back on the other side. I waited until he turned off the shower and wall walked above his bedroom door. He's not stupid, so when he finished his shower and got dressed, he came out suspicious that he was about to get scared and began calling my name and I guess preparing himself in case I popped out. After looking for me, went inside his room and closed the door. He put on his night lamp and started to lay down, and I dropped from basically the ceiling and screamed as high pitched as I could. I've never seen someone look as scared as he was in that split second, and he legit just attacked me once he realized it was me. He legit tried to kill me, and we never really fought much at all growing up. He says he still looks up above his door every time he goes in his room. We don't even live together anymore. So considering that was almost 20 years ago, I think I got him good. Hey lovely bastards, like and subscribe if you want to see more.